one. So you are here today for the first ever live version of Girl Talk. We're going to get real, we're going to share what's going on in our lives, and we're going to talk today about my 3 favorite P's, which are people, partnership, and possibility. How are we doing, ladies?
Amazing.
Good, yeah?
Awesome.
You good?
Good. Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Super. Peas.
Well, you all know that I live basically to try and help humans not be in as much pain. I know I've had my fair share of pain, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I've made my fair share of mistakes. And I also see, when I look back, everything I've ever done, I now know needed to happen, and I've learned from it. But I also live in this idea, like, what if you could help people speed the process along to becoming more comfortable in your skin, understand why we do things sometimes to each other even though we don't mean to, and in a nutshell, embrace being human, because it's not easy to be human. Would you say that?
I agree. Definitely.
Lovely Liz, Latoya, and Claire. Okay, so let's start with the people conversation. You know, I love people. I love all types of people, right? And at the same point, I get super frustrated with people.
Very much.
I get frustrated with myself.
Yes.
I do think, though, that it's pretty magical to find someone in your life that actually just lets you entirely be you. Right? And I know we like to think of that as something that's rare, but I would love to hear what you think about what that means. Like, what does it mean for someone to just let you be you?
What does it mean? For me, it's like the greatest gift anyone could ever give me is to let me be me. If I could translate it into anything, it would be this. Just a sigh of relief that I don't have to pretend, I don't have to put on airs, I don't have to watch what I'm saying, how I'm dressing, what I'm doing. I can just be me, and I don't have to go home and think like, did I screw it up? Are they still going to like me the next time I see them? It's just such a relief.
Yeah, and to shed some light on that, we don't like to own this as humans, but we keep track a lot. And it's normal to go, okay, I did this for them. Are they going to do this for me? And you get to this point. That's why you all hear me say this a lot. Like, you could not pay me to go back. I mean, I am embracing the 40s like crazy. I love it because I've just learned so much crap about myself, right? And it's like, I don't want to have to keep track. I want to be around people where if they need me, they'll tell me. If I screwed up, they'll tell me. And I know that's not an easy thing to do, but the more I do that, the more I'm just like, hey, that kind of hurt my feelings, or it doesn't let these layers build, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you have no idea, but something ends or something didn't work out just because no one wanted to what? Talk, right? I mean, what does it feel like you when someone just lets you be you?
Honestly, it's similar to Latoya. It's a breath of fresh air. I like to be silly, and the fact that I can be my silly self with people who really know me makes me feel good. I like dancing, singing, being just random. I also love Taco Bell and burgers, and anybody who can embrace that about me, I really love. And so it's zero pressure that I can legitimately be me any point in time, 24/7, and know that I won't be judged. So it just makes me feel good.
Yeah, and then when you think about your people, I think sometimes we feel bad, or we think we were born to get along with everybody. And I don't think that. I don't think we have to be mean to each other, and I don't think we have to be crappy to each other, but there's no doubt that we're going to connect with certain people, and it's going to change throughout our life. like depending on what you're going through at the time or depending on what you're needing, you may relate to one person at one point in your life and then 10 years later be like, wow, like that's, and I think we feel bad about that
We do.
sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think we necessarily need to, you know, I mean, I don't believe that this is a life where we do everything perfectly. And I think we don't honor the fact that we can actually choose our people. Like, and at the end of the day, if you think of it from this big concept, we're all related.
Yeah.
We're all just human and we're all gonna go through crap, you know? Well, cool. No, so what do you all think, we'll start with Claire, I'm not even gonna say anything. What do you think of the word partnership?
What do I think of the word partnership? I think it means, or to me rather, it means that you're there to support each other through the good, through the bad, and to actually listen and be present with what the other person needs at different times. Actually listen and stand by your person even if you disagree about things.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
What do you all think about the idea of the partnership with yourself?
It's getting tested right now. That's how I feel. It's getting tested right now.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
I mean, honestly, I haven't even thought of that as an option. I think of a partnership with another person, and so to be in partnership with myself, that is a foreign concept, and I'm sure it's possible, because, right? Like, why shouldn't we be? But never even thought about that.
I'll say this.
I love it.
I don't really think I was aware that I even had a partnership with myself until I went through a divorce. Because up until that point, I thought partnership meant just with someone else.
For sure.
And then that didn't work out. And all of a sudden, in quotations, I was alone, right? Although you were there, and I was in the fetal, but we were fine. But it's something as I've continued to learn through my mistakes that I actually believe now that the partnership with yourself is the most important partnership you will experience in this lifetime. Because a lot of the pain that happens to us is because we don't listen to ourselves. And take a breath with that. But it's normal to not listen to ourselves because we want to be liked, we want to be accepted, we want to be loved, we want to be part of. So we will do things and say yes and not take care of ourselves and deplete ourselves and not look at what we need. And because we're so worried about what everyone else thinks. And I'm forever grateful for that situation because it was this wake-up call to be like, no, like, you ignored yourself for a long time. You equated love and partnership as sacrificing yourself and being what everyone else wanted you and needed to be. And I also learned it even through friendship, that I had to learn the hard way that if I was a different person or different versions of myself, or I wasn't all together sometimes, that was not the version some people wanted of me, right? And so there's this thing that I love for people to start playing with is like just getting a piece of paper and writing down partnership with myself. Okay. Like just even looking there. And like, what if you were, like think of it this way, if you were gonna give someone the recipe for you, what is your recipe? Like for Liz, it's 2 cups of Taco Bell, right? And reality TV shows.
Absolutely.
And meaning we don't think we know our own recipe to partner with ourselves. And even worse, we hide our recipe from other people, right? And it's normal to do that, but there's such freedom in just owning, like, this is who I am. And this is the other cool part. You can change.
Yeah.
Like what you were 10 years ago, we all can, like, notice our faces when we go back and like, oh, like we remember versions of ourselves, but they had to happen.
Yeah, they did.
And when we lose this connection with our partnership, with ourselves, how the heck are we gonna be a good partner to anyone else when we're not even taking care of us?
True.
And we teach that here at the union. Like, we talk about it all the time, and I don't think I really started living it until like this past 10 years, like maybe even more importantly, the past 5 years. Because that's how we define ourselves, like how many people like us or how many partnerships do we have, and then we beat ourselves up when they're not successful.
Right.
Well, most of the time they end up failing because someone in that party wasn't taking care of themselves. Someone was dropping values, ethics, someone was depleting themselves, maybe both were. But I know for a fact that when I don't take care of this partnership, husband gets affected not well, child gets affected not well, friends get affected not well, business partner gets affected not well. The thing is, we don't realize what it costs us.
Right.
How does that land?
I mean, it makes sense when you lay it out that way, and I'm kind of excited to make this list.
Well, yeah. And I have one in my wallet.
Yeah.
I made a small one, and I want to do a workshop on it with our people.
Yes.
What is your recipe? What is your partnership?
Wouldn't it be great just to have these like business cards?
Or,
Yeah.
Or a recipe card. You're like, you
I
meet
think
someone
that's-
that you like or something, and you can just like give them this card, and it's like, this is me. Like, I like cuddles with my dog, or I like, working out, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
That would
Well,
be so cool.
and see, we think we can't tell them that because they're going to judge us.
Yeah.
But like, how much does cuddling with your dog, what does that do for you?
Oh, it does loads. It just fills me up.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you have these new capacities because you took care of yourself, so now you can what?
Take care of others or give to others.
It's not rocket science, Liz,
No.
but we're not born this way.
Right.
Our instincts actually train us that if we're not liked, if we're not part of the crew, if they don't like us, if they're up, we're gonna what?
Die.
Die.
Yeah.
And
It's dramatic.
I know, like, what I'm saying may not be true for everyone, but I'll never forget my mentor, Baker Duncan. It was about 4 years ago. And he said to me, Lisa, if everyone likes you, there's something wrong. And I was like, what? It's like, well, those people that just go with the wind and just always just adapt to what everyone else says or does because they have no what? No belief in them, no acceptance of their flaws. And he was like, you gotta learn how to stand on your own. And sometimes people aren't gonna like what you stand for. But it's your belief, it's not their belief. You're not asking them.
That's true.
But we beat ourselves up for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've talked 2 of my favorite P's,
Love
we're just sprinkling your third P, Claire, is possibility.
Oh!
There's always possibility. It is never not accessible. It's just the possibility you may have wanted isn't accessible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we think that things don't have possibility, we completely eliminate choice.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, I mean, I spent my mid-30s thinking that I couldn't have a kid because I wasn't married, right?
Yeah.
Well, can you have a child without being married? Is it possible?
Yes.
But can you see how our brains tell us one version of how things can go because it's what we've told ourselves is possible, but this is the only way it should be done.
Right.
And I shared this because I would tell you all the things that actually matter to me in my life at this point weren't possible at one point. Like, I remember when I wanted to open a yoga studio and my Mexican Catholic father was like, she's joined a cult. I had zero money. Steve and I like maxed out our credit cards. Everyone were like, you want to heat a room to what? Like, and everything that I was trying wasn't working. Can you, like, what I thought was supposed to happen didn't. But if I would have just quit when that possibility didn't work, like, we wouldn't be sitting here. And so what if you could just always, even when things don't go your way, no, there's still what?
Possibility.
And it may not even, it could be better than what you were thinking. Like, this is where
Yeah.
partnership is so cool.
Mhm.
Latoya could tell me she's thinking something, and I could just give her ideas. And we get pissed at people sometimes when they poke holes in our ideas or what we're doing. But I see it as like positive resistance.
Mhm.
Like they're coming in and going, well, have you thought about this? I mean, my husband is amazing at it. My business partner Steve is amazing at it. My girlfriend Nicole, her facial expressions just tell me when she goes, like, and it makes me pause and think, oh, am I missing something? Is
Right.
something else
Possible.
possible?
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you still can't go after what you are wanting possible, but if you limit what it could look like, can you also see that you could limit how much richer and deeper and
Oh,
more
for
amazing it could be?
Yeah.
I mean, I would not want to own the yoga studios without Steve.
Yeah.
And at first it was just me. Like the possibility was, okay, I'm gonna go, and then it was with my girlfriend Erica, and look, the one
true.
possibility after this first yoga class I took, and it was like, okay, this is what I'm doing with my whole life. I had this idea, that's not at all what happened.
But here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even now, in what we're going through, to the people out there, there's still possibility.
Yeah.
There are still people, there are still partnerships, there are things out there that we don't even know are coming. But you have to be willing to live in these 3 Ps and not just let what is normal for humans to do, which is reject, resist, condemn, be adversarial. Like, where in your life could you go clean something up that's been weighing you down? Like, what's possible right now? Because as crazy as this sounds, I know none of us were thinking this was going to happen, but there's a gift in all of this. And if you can look at that and just open your lens, I don't know, ladies, 3 Ps.
I'm in.
Stay tuned for Girl Talk number 2. We're coming soon.